That is a combination I never expected to hear, and I welcome it. Genius. Masterpiece. This is the music of Terraria Calamity. Catastrophes Before the Calamity Interlude 3. Oh, okay, so I'm guessing this is a series of interludes. There he is again, DM DOKURO with his favorite chromatic descending chord. So much ear candy going on here, especially with those lush sounding synths and this clean guitar arpeggio, which by the way kind of sounds almost like a piano etude, a piano exercise. Hell yeah, that drop. Yes, the power ballad section of the metal section and those ethereal sounding piano arpeggios in the background with lots of heightened reverbs. It's making this sound both powerful yet ethereal. Yeah, such passionate lead guitar playing, making it sound almost like it's singing. It's such a lyrical style of playing. Tempo slowing down to give you a chance to absorb this sudden grandeur. Wow, okay. For the standards of song length in the Terraria Calamity soundtrack, this is what I would consider short and sweet. I like it. It's a standalone story in itself. Feels like you're trekking in a jungle environment, then you suddenly stop at a cliff, and then you see the beauty of the wilderness. Almost like that feeling when Link ran to the cliff in Breath of the Wild, stopping and then seeing the grandness of the surrounding world around him. Something like that. Yeah, beautiful one. By the way, I heard you love video game music. I arrange and produce an album series called Video Game Music Box. These are music box arrangements of your favorite game soundtracks from Zelda to Mario. They're essentially lullabies for gamers. And I just dropped a new album, Terraria Calamity Volume 1, for your enjoyment. Links in the description. Stained Brutal Calamity. I know a lot of you have been waiting for this moment, and I have been waiting for this moment as well. 13-minute song. Oh, wow. There's usually a significance when a composer decides to write longer music, like what happened with Nobuo Uematsu. He just got so engrossed and so passionate about writing Dancing Mad that he kept on going and going because he had so much to give. And that is usually something that represents a moment where the composer just got so much into the zone. He got so inspired that they just had to make an extended masterpiece.
Couldn't leave us well enough alone, could you? Everything was going well until you came along. Fine, let's settle this. Now!
Wow! In the context of Terraria Calamity, this is like his Beethoven Symphony No. 9, an opus that is just so inspired, so passionate. I can hear the similar harmonic progression as Tale of a Cruel World, but this time, oh my god, in the epic orchestration style that you can hear in orchestral masterpieces like Karl Orff's Carmina Burana, or like I said, Symphony No. 9. There is always something ethereal and haunting with choral pieces played with an entire orchestra or an entire orchestra sounding arrangement. Where to even begin? Wow, let's keep listening and see where this leads. Like I said, this is his dancing mad moment, his one-winged angel moment, a game-changing piece of music that totally upends the whole soundtrack. I'm at a loss for words right now. Before we let DM DOKURO continue with his wonderful singing voice, I just got to point out that this is a marriage of two of my favorite styles. Like I said earlier, the Gothic / Baroque style choral hymns with the orchestra, with all those suspended cadences that is very much heard in Baroque organ, pipe organ, church music, choral music. It's all present in here. The classical music theory rules of following quote-unquote strict harmonies, but only to a certain extent. I keep hearing that signature DM DOKURO minor third or major third modulation up or down. He does it. It's a great example of a visionary composer knowing traditional music theory but chose to upend it anyway. So what we have here is a masterpiece of music that sounds in some certain sections almost as if you're listening to a choral hymn by Haydn or Mozart, but with the skin and bones of symphonic metal and the chordal sensibilities of DM DOKURO. Wow, okay. He definitely puts the symphonic in symphonic metal. It's more symphonic with a hint of metal. And we're hearing like the tropes in classical music writing of music that is supposed to sound massive and heaven-shattering. Massive string orchestras, church organs, and that massive orchestral choir. That is like the holy trinity of writing massive sounding music in the classical context. It's so thrilling to hear the chord progression that he keeps using on the main theme, but in a huge orchestral choral arrangement. It's a great use of leitmotif callback. But in this sense, leitmotif usually refers to single line melodic passages, and composers would like to spread that melodic callback all around the soundtrack, kind of like how Toby Fox uses the melody of Hopes and Dreams and spreads it around other songs in the soundtrack, but he changes the harmony sometimes. He changes the chord progression to it. This one, in DM DOKURO, he does also retain the original chord progression and the melody, but dresses it up in a different instrumentation arrangement. Wow. Yeah, that cadence. That is a very classical cadence right there. Okay, could I just say that almost traditional sounding choral counterpoint right there, very Baroque, very medieval style, and then that sudden entrance of a sliding bass line. That is a combination I never expected to hear, and I welcome it. Okay, whew. The choral parts where the chords kept on descending. You would usually hear that in funeral songs, like the very famous one, Mozart's Requiem. It would usually be associated with hallowed ceremonies, funerals, or prayers or masses associated with something melancholy or sad. But then you add a powerful metal rhythmic accompaniment to it. And what do you get? It becomes some sort of energized sadness, energetic melancholy. Of course, Calamity, signature bells. This piece totally deserves its length because it's got so many things to say. I can still hear this DM DOKURO style of the contrast of the sinister and the hopeful. And we've seen that with a lot of the other Terraria Calamity songs. He loves to inject a hopeful sounding section in between a song that begins or starts as something more serious and dramatic. This time, it's 100 times reflected in this masterpiece right here. And choosing to end it with that acceptance part at the very end with this sustained pedal tone and the heavy reverb on the piano, symbolizing a huge cavernous sound, typically like a church. The classical aspect of writing that is reflected in his music is usually music that used to be associated with church music in the classical times. Nowadays, it's now just a style of classical music writing, but the history of it still remains. The historical association with it remains. That is why this style of music right here is still very much like those massive sounding classical masterpieces of that time. And wow, wow, wow. If Haydn or Mozart was also a metal artist, this is what they would write. But yeah, oh wow, that song is an absolute journey through heaven and hell and maybe victory and freedom. Wow. Now click on this next video if you want more discussions and musical analysis of video game music.